Pakistan has carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan. Pakistan has bombed bases of the Tehrik Taliban Pakistan inside Afghanistan. That's the latest information that's coming in. Airstrikes have been carried out both in the coast and in the Paktika provinces of Afghanistan. And this has led to a massive spike in tensions in Pakistan-Afghanistan tensions. There is big military movement that's taking place along the AFPAC border. In fact, on both sides of the AFPAC border, military movement is being reported. Pakistan Air Force has confirmed it carried out strikes inside Afghanistan. Pakistan's Foreign Office has claimed it carried out precision strikes against strongholds of the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, a banned terrorist entity that carried out a series of suicide attacks inside Pakistan, including targeting Pakistani security forces. And very recently, 2 Pakistan Army officers were killed in a TTP suicide bombing, which then saw a massive spike in retaliation. In fact, ever since Taliban took over Afghanistan, there's been a rise in Afghanistan-Pakistan tensions. We'll get to that story. Also on India First, big joint operation by the Indian Navy, Marine Commandos and Indian Air Force, more than 2,600 kilometers from the Indian coast in the Arabian Sea, a 40-hour-long operation. 35 Somalian pirates, they were not only disarmed, they were also arrested by Indian Navy Marine Commandos on the high seas. Not just that, the steering system of that mothership of pirates was destroyed. It was deactivated, and the crew, including 7 Bulgarians, were rescued. Bulgaria's president has thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for this operation. I'm Gaurav. We'll get you both these big stories. Our top story on India First is Pakistan airstrikes inside Afghanistan, and this has an impact on security across this region. Remember when Taliban had taken over Afghanistan, Pakistan celebrated. Then DG of Pakistan's ISI had gone to Kabul Serena Hotel and he was celebrating there. Then Prime Minister of Pakistan Imran Khan had used big words like breaking shackles of slavery, decades of shackles of slavery. Today, Pakistan is crying tears of blood. Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, based out of Afghanistan, has carried out a series of strikes against Pakistani security forces. Pakistan's Foreign Office has confirmed that Pakistan carried out airstrikes against TTP strongholds. These airstrikes have been carried out in 2 provinces inside Afghanistan, in the Khost province and in the Paktika province. Massive spike in Pakistan-Afghanistan tensions. Reports that are coming from the region, from the AFPAC region, seem to indicate that there is military movement along the AFPAC border on both sides of the border. Pakistan Air Force has confirmed to Pakistani media that it carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan. Now, these airstrikes were carried out after a series of TTP attacks, suicide attacks inside Pakistan, including the specific targeting of Pakistani security forces, especially the killing of 2 Pakistan Army officers that prompted a reaction from the entire Pakistan government. I want to now quickly cut across to a senior Pakistani journalist, Mateen Haider, who joins us from Pakistan for more on this. Mateen Haider, what more can you tell us, sir, about the latest developments along the AFPAC border?
Well, thank you so much for taking me in your program for analysis. Of course, as far as Pakistan's western border is concerned, situation is very tense at the western border. And yesterday, when Pakistan carried out strikes inside Afghanistan against the safe havens of the TTP and other terrorist groups, which used to use that territory, that place against Pakistan. So since that situation at Pakistan-Afghanistan border was tense, following Pakistan's airstrikes, the Afghan security forces started shelling inside in Pakistan. So today there is calm, but situation is very tense, and the as far as the security situation is concerned, Pakistani security forces are on very high alert.
Okay.
So, in case of any further eventuality or in case of any such strike from the Afghanistan side, Pakistani security forces are ready to defend its territory.
Well, there are reports that there is not just firing and small arms, but even area weapons, artillery is being used from the Afghan side. But I want to understand from you, when Taliban took over Afghanistan, Pakistan was celebrating. What happened? What happened that Pakistan needed to use fighters against Afghanistan and Air Force against Afghanistan?
Well, this Pakistan has told Afghan side, I mean, interim Afghan government number of times regarding the presence of Gul Bahadur group of this TTP and the TTP terrorists itself. TTP means Tehrik Taliban Pakistan.
Yes.
So this Pakistan has been telling Afghanistan since long that please take action against terrorist centuries which were based in Paktia and Kunar province, close to Pakistan-Afghanistan border. But despite number of times this communication made with the Afghan Taliban regime, no attention was paid. And finally, yesterday, Pakistani security forces carried out airstrikes against the terrorist outfits and safe havens, which were basically placed over there in last Saturday. In fact, what happened, there was a big terrorist attack against a Pakistani security force inside
Yes.
in Pakistan's North Waziristan in Miran Shah. The security post came under heavy attack from multiple sides. There have been number of suicide attacks followed by an explosive laden vehicle which also rammed into that particular security post. So finally, there was heavy exchange of fire between terrorists and the security forces and one of Pakistan Army Lieutenant Colonel
Yes.
and a Pakistan Army captain and a number of other soldiers embraced martyrdom. And this particular airstrike, which was carried out yesterday by Pakistan's Air Force, excuse me,
God bless.
this
Okay.
particular airstrike which Pakistan carried out against Afghanistan was a retaliation to this particular attack. So Pakistan made it clear there was a statement issued by Pakistani Foreign
Yes.
Ministry that this airstrike by Pakistan was a credible intelligence-based operation. Pakistan had credible intelligence that there were safe havens of these terrorist organizations and particularly TTP. And this particular attack of Saturday in Miran Shah, it was linked with those who were based in Kunar and Paktia province. So
Okay.
Pakistan has, time and again, Pakistan has been communicating and telling Afghan regime that take
You know,
actions against terrorist
okay.
groups. But Afghan authorities were a bit lenient. They have been seeking time from Pakistan that by
No,
summer
but the
this
point
year,
I'm coming to,
the
sir,
Taliban's
the
will
point
be
I'm
asked
coming
to
to,
move to some other places, something like that.
okay, the point I'm coming to is Pakistan claims that you're blood brothers, Pakistan and Afghanistan, followers of same religion. It's almost like two sons of different mothers or words to that effect that's used. Taliban doesn't seem to think so. You've kept Taliban in your country for 20 years. You've nurtured Taliban. You've used them as a weapon against neighboring countries. But what happened? This friendship doesn't seem to be working.
Well, this is very pertinent question. Pakistan and Afghanistan are not allies, not only allies. Pakistan and Afghanistan enjoy brotherly relations, friendly relations, and particularly after takeover of Taliban, Pakistan was expecting that now the situation, the bilateral ties, the political ties, the diplomatic ties, the military ties, trade and economic ties between Pakistan and Afghanistan would further improve. And for that purpose, to take care of Afghanistan, Pakistan also hosted a foreign ministers conference of Organization of Islamic Countries in December 2021,
Okay.
when at the time when Imran Khan was Prime Minister of Pakistan. So
Yes.
Pakistan was that concerned that it hosted OIC Foreign Ministers Conference, and Pakistan, why Pakistan was basically taking interest in Afghanistan because Pakistan was thinking if Afghanistan is economically stable, if Afghanistan is Afghanistan's security is stable, if the terrorists are crushed and countered and killed,
No,
and if
sir.
Afghanistan is
No,
stable,
sir.
it will have an impact
Maybe
on terrorism.
all you wanted was strategic depth. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I want to bring into this conversation Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha. He, of course, is joining us on a different story. But Admiral Sinha was Flag Officer Commanding in Chief of the Western Naval Fleet. He's a naval aviator, understands Pakistan like the back of his hand. Captain D.K. Sharma also with me on this special broadcast. Let me bring them into this conversation for a moment. Admiral Sinha, what do you make of Pakistan using its aircraft to bomb Afghanistan? I mean, is this Pakistan's realization that its dream of having that strategic depth in Afghanistan against India has actually turned out to be a strategic nightmare?
Thank you, Gaurav, for getting me on your program. You are absolutely right in saying that. What has happened is that some parts of the Taliban, or maybe majority part of Taliban, have gone out of hands of the Pakistani establishment, meaning the army and the ISI, and they are left with no other option but to do this if they have to destroy them. But as a matter of principle, if we consider brothers in arms, we would not do any aerial firing on any of these citizens, those who we have considered as brothers.
Absolutely.
We'll have a talk. We will see what we can do. We'll do a land operation and try and get them into custody. But doing an aerial attack is it's an acceptance that sorry, we have nothing else left, and that is only going to sour the relationship between these two countries even further.
Okay, and Captain D.K. Sharma, given the fact that DGISI was enjoying a cup of coffee at the Serena Hotel when Taliban took over, and Imran Khan said shackles of slavery have been broken when Taliban took over, the fact that not just Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, which was trained, armed, funded at one point of time by the Pakistani deep state, but the Haqqani network was nurtured by Pakistan for decades. They took sanctions and nurtured the Haqqani network. All of them have just turned against Pakistan. It just shows Pakistan's diplomacy is a disaster, terrorism is a disaster, their army and ISI, their tactics are a disaster for Pakistan. Okay, give me a moment. I'll try and reestablish that link with Captain D.K. Sharma. But Mateen Haider, let me bring you in. Isn't this a complete failure of Pakistan's Afghanistan policy, sir?
Well, I will completely disagree with the notion that this was not a failure of Pakistan army and diplomacy. I've just explained briefly that Pakistan exercised the diplomatic options with Kabul. And as far as your notion that it is failure of Pakistan army, how it could be the failure of Pakistan army? Pakistan is under attack, and Pakistan army, you think, will not respond, will not act, will not retaliate. So it's basically the failure of the Afghan diplomacy and Afghan security forces. Afghan government and Afghan security forces have been time and again told that take action against the terrorist groups which were operating on Afghan territory against Pakistan, and the presence of such high-profile terrorist groups on Afghan territory is basically also the violation of Doha Agreement, in which Afghans have promised that they will ensure that their territory is not used against Pakistan.
So isn't that ironical, sir? Pakistan has made the same promise to India so many times that Pakistani terrorists will not be used for terror against India, but Pakistan hasn't fulfilled that promise. But before I let you go, in your appreciation, why does Pakistan have a problem on every border, whether it's the border with Iran, Afghanistan, or India?
Well, Pakistan doesn't have any problem. Again, it's basically the rising terrorism in the region, which is basically a common threat. And some of the terrorist organizations which are operating in the region, they are beyond. These organizations are funded by various foreign governments. These terrorist
My
organizations
God.
are supported by some of the hostile intelligence agencies and hostile countries which are against Pakistan. So, particularly in Afghanistan, the game is open. It's no more a secret that who is funding terrorist outfits operating in Afghanistan, who is supporting Daesh, who is supporting IS Khorasan province, and there are several other international terrorist organizations other than Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, which are based.
My
It's a
God.
greater international
You
game,
know, Mateen Haider
and
Saab,
that
you know,
game
when,
is that.
when Pakistan talks about governments funding terror, it's almost like devil quoting scriptures of I want to bring in Admiral Sinha once again before we switch focus to our other story. Admiral Sinha, Pakistan is known as international terror migraine. Pakistan is known as the epicenter of terror, Admiral Sinha, and Pakistan now says that there are foreign governments that are funding Daesh and Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, even though there is evidence that it's the Pakistan ISI that nurtured these organizations.
Well, Gaurav, I'll just take you back to a few years ago when Hillary Clinton made this statement that if you keep snakes in your backyard, they will come back to bite you. And that's precisely what is happening right now. The whole world is saying that Pakistan is the fountainhead of terrorism. And not only that, President Musharraf, when he was president, he's made a statement that, yes, we fund these organizations to create problem in India.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it has gone too big and it has gone out of hands of the Pakistan ISI. There isn't any doubt about it.
And let's
And
hope
just
there are
now
lessons learned.
yeah, even the US government has just now said that to Pakistan that please exercise restraint against your attack in Afghanistan. Just now, 5 minutes back.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But I now want to switch focus to the other story, and this is where you see India's growing might across the region. Indian Navy commandos, the Marine commandos, jumped off a C-17 Globemaster of the Indian Air Force and took control of what is being described as the mothership of piracy, or of pirates. 35 Somali pirates were not only disarmed, the ship was searched, weapons and contraband recovered, and crew members from multiple countries, including Bulgaria, rescued after months in captivity. This entire operation shows how more than 2,500 kilometers from the Indian coast, India has the ability to carry out a massive anti-piracy operation. US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, he appreciated India's role in ensuring sea lanes of communication are effectively dominated and piracy checked. Bulgaria's president thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for India's role. We bring you more of this report.
A daring airborne rescue on the high seas by the elite marine commandos of the Indian Navy. Merchant ship MV Ruin was hijacked by 35 pirates 1400 nautical miles from the Indian coast deep in the Persian Gulf. On board was 17 crew members held hostage for over 40 hours. As the Indian Navy received a distress call, it deployed destroyer INS Kolkata and patrol vessel INS Subhadra already in the area for the patrolling duties. From Goa, a P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft was also sent in to keep an eye on the scene of action. A Sea Guardian drone from Arakonam in Tamil Nadu also kept tabs from high altitude. Taking off from the Hindon base near Delhi, the Marcos flew to the piracy site on this C-17 heavy lift jet and dramatically airdropped mid-sea near the hijacked vessel. It wasn't going to be easy mission as the pirates were using the crew members as human shields. A few rounds of warning shots were fired. But hours later, after a tense standoff, the rescue operation was executed successfully and flawlessly, with no deaths and no injuries. It ended with the pirates surrendering, a dramatic image that has since gone viral.
This piracy has suddenly resurfaced in about 3-4 months back. So, tab se we have put more ships there. We are investigating all suspicious vessels which have a piracy trigger and this ongoing operation. So while doing this, we came across this MV Ruin, which was being used as a pirate mothership.
Among those rescued, 7 were Bulgarian nationals. Bulgarian Deputy Prime Minister Maria Gabriel and President Rumen Radev thanked Prime Minister Modi for rescuing their citizens. Prime Minister also reiterated India's commitment to protecting freedom of navigation and combating piracy and terrorism in the Indian Ocean region.
We as Bharatiya Nausena, we will ensure that we protect, preserve, promote and pursue Bharat's national interests in the maritime domain. So that is our job and that is what we will do well.
With this successful anti-piracy mission, the Indian Navy has once again stamped its position as the chief guardian of the Indian Ocean. Bureau Report, India Today.
Captain D.K. Sharma, what were the risks involved for the Marine Commandos as they undertook this operation and what are the implications, sir?
Gaurav, good evening. First of all, good evening to you and all your viewers. This was a very intricate operation which took place miles away from India. And you see, the number of pirates, which normally used to be 3, 4, 5, on this ship, MV Ruin, there were 35 of them. 35 armed Somalian pirates is not a small threat. And that is why this operation took 40 hours. Kolkata was there, Subhadra was there, Sea Guardians, PATI, C-17 with the Marcos. And let me tell you, and through you to all the viewers, that both the ships had small element of Marcos, which is normally the standard operating procedure. But here you see the enemy now. The enemy has taken the ship on 14 December, taken it to Somalia, has switched off the AIS, automatic identification system, converted the ship in some way or the other, made it a mothership, and now they have come out. Now you see that what kind of an effort has taken place, and all this is through our network-centric warfare, in which the Sea Guardians were relaying the picture, the PATI is relaying the picture, the ships are in the loop, and also the in loop is IFC IOR. So a massive coordination, and then the final decision by the powers that be in Delhi, once they shot down our drone and opened fire on Calcutta. That was a very dangerous act by the pirates, which in fact, you know, it was a kind of a compulsion onto the CEO of Kolkata and Subhadra that now this needs to be sorted there and then.
Imagine if terrorists think that they can fire, or pirates think they can fire at an Indian Navy warship like INS Kolkata. Admiral Sinha, what implications for sea lanes of communication being kept open and India's actions, sir?
You know, Gaurav, it all goes back to the script which the Prime Minister Modi has written. Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. We will protect anyone and everyone, any global common who's utilizing the sea for commercial and trade purposes. If there are any hindrance, whereas in this case you see that MV Ruin was hijacked, it's carrying a lot of coal. It was hijacked and it was being used in other than commercial activity. And therefore it is incumbent on the part of Indian nation and particularly Indian Navy to see that we go and release this fellow. So I think that keeping the sea lanes of communication open is a very important task of the Indian Navy. And as DK was saying, that it was full of danger. As you also said, imagine if the pirates had fired on the Marcos themselves who were coming down if they were close enough. So it is risk prone. We have been doing this practice exercises for many years, but today it is an absolutely live exercise. You can see the drill converting into a proper operation. So I think that we have to give it to the combined planning of Air Force and Navy, and good planning. 40 hours of the entire operation. One important thing I want to point out, sir, Gaurav, that for the first time, the Maritime Anti-Piracy Act, which has been enacted last year, it has become a law, that will be put to use. Why? Because as DK said, they opened fire.
Absolutely.
So they will be tried here.
Absolutely, and we'll be tracking that story very, very closely. I've unfortunately run out of time on this part of the show, but in the next several days, this is an area of interest for us. Captain D.K. Sharma and Admiral Sinha for joining me here on India First.